It's just hard to believe. I mean, reminiscent of Tiananmen Square. This one showing a Ukrainian citizen, several in fact, standing in front of a Russian tank trying to stop its forward movement. And you can hear a voice on the video saying people are begging the tanks to stop, throwing their bicycles even underneath the tank. This was taken in a town about 100 miles north of the capital of Kyiv. CNN has confirmed the authenticity and location of that video. And you see that man right there, single-handedly trying to stop that tank. CNN's Alex Marquardt is live for us in Kyiv. Alex, I mean, this is an extraordinary moment. I wonder how many times that has been duplicated as people are doing all that they can, ordinary citizens, to stop this Russian invasion.
Tiananmen Square is exactly what I thought of as well, Frederica. How can you not? And I think it says so much about the Ukrainian people and how they are going to react to this Russian invasion. So that was taken in Bakhmach to the northeast of Kyiv, about 140 miles. It's near Ukraine's second biggest city of Kharkiv, which U.S. officials believe is coming under some of the most significant fire from Russian forces. Our colleague Fred Pleitkin is right across the border in Russia. He has seen many salvos of rockets going out and heading in the direction of Kharkiv. And as I said, it does say so much about the Ukrainian spirit. You are seeing people of all ages, from all walks of life, taking up arms to fight against the Russian invasion. There has been a general mobilization by the Ukrainian military. You heard Arwa just there saying that a family left their father behind. All men between the ages of 18 and 60 years old have been barred from leaving Ukraine. There have been many calls for everyone to help in the fight, to the extent that the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense asked citizens to get Molotov cocktails ready and to throw them at advancing Russian forces. So that is the extent to which they are calling on really every aspect of society to fight against what is an overwhelming Russian force. Some 175,000 forces have gathered on three sides of Ukraine's borders. 50% of those forces, according to the Pentagon, they believe are now inside of Ukraine. There has been a relative lull there had been, I should say, a relative lull in what we are hearing here in downtown Kyiv. That has changed in the past 2 hours since the sun has started going down, Frederica. Behind me is the east, and from that direction we've been hearing a steady series of large booms in the distance. To my right is the north. We've been hearing gunfire coming from that direction. So this fighting, as has been for the past 2 nights, appears to be picking up in the nighttime hours. Now, the Kremlin said that they had paused their operations on Friday because the Ukrainians had been giving indications that they planned or wanted to negotiate. Then they said the Ukrainians reneged on that. And now the Russian Ministry of Defense says that they are resuming their operations in all directions. We should note that the Ukrainians are denying that. But this could be what we are seeing now. This uptick in the fighting could be this resumption of Russian operations, Frederica.
And then, Alex, earlier we saw that extraordinary video of what appeared to be a missile, something hitting that apartment building. Do we know anything more about, were there people in that building? What struck that?
Yeah, that is one of the episodes that is perhaps most worrying to the people of Kyiv right now, because that rocket, as you can see there, so dramatically hitting the upper stories of that apartment building, that was within the city limits of Kyiv. We're told by Ukrainian officials that somehow no one was hurt or killed, an absolute miracle. The Ukrainians, of course, blame the Russians. The Russians are saying that it was a Ukrainian anti-aircraft system that caused that, so each side blaming the other, as we've so often heard since this invasion started. But that is extremely worrying, not just because it is within the city limits, but it is on a residential building. The Russians have said that they are only targeting military installations and military targets. And in addition to that incident, we also heard some of the fiercest fighting within Kyiv, just about 3 miles from here in the early morning hours, again in the east behind me. In the western part of the city. That was just about 3 miles away. The Ukrainian military saying that they were taking out a number of Russian military vehicles. So now we have examples of the Russians approaching from the north, south, east, and west, not just in the distance, but also fighting within the city limits.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Alex Marquardt, thank you so much. Be safe. And as we just saw with our Damon earlier, people are pouring into neighboring Poland and Romania by the tens of thousands. But still there are many Ukrainians who must commit themselves to staying and fighting, like former President Petro Poroshenko, who I spoke with earlier today.
Now it's a decisive moment for my nation. And every single person make a decision for themselves. The millions of Ukrainians not only staying here, but they are fighting against Russian aggression with a very high risk to be killed. And I think that this is normal when all Ukrainians are protecting our country, all Ukrainians are demonstrating Putin's miscalculation about Blitzkrieg, all Ukrainian is demonstrating that they are fighting against aggressor. And when Putin said that Ukrainian will meet Russian troops with the flowers, the only flowers for Russian soldiers is the Molotov cocktail, which was even ordinary Ukrainian preparing for protecting our cities against Russian tank. So this is very natural for Ukrainians to protect our nation. And that's why it is so difficult to Putin to fight big Russia, to fight against absolutely peaceful European country and European nation, right, Ukraine and Ukrainian. So I think that this is a good idea to protect Kyiv. Every person has a possibility to be afraid, but when you're protecting your nation, this is give you unique opportunity to be above your fear. And I think that we try to do our best to be above the fear.
I did hear you say that this is a time for you and everyone to rise above any fears. But do you believe that you are potentially giving up your life today, over the next few days, to help save your country?
Look, I hate the pathos words because people don't believe in the pathos words. But if you stay in Kyiv when you have a Russian troops around, you should be ready for this tragical development of the situation. If I'm ready, unfortunately, yes. I hate the idea to be my country occupied. And I think that we should do our best to protect the nation. To protect the nation against Russian aggressor definitely bring the risk for your own life. Everybody here, all the young and old people fully understand that we have this risk. Somebody has a choice to go abroad. Somebody had a choice to be the refugee on some regions of Ukraine. But many, the biggest part, make a decision to take the rifle and to protect the nation. I'm proud for these people, I'm proud for this country, and I'm proud to be Ukrainian.
Wow, unbelievable resolve from the former president of Ukraine, Poroshenko there. Well, today, the U.S. Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, authorized $350 million in new U.S. military assistance to Ukraine following instructions from the U.S. president. Congressman Ro Khanna is a Democrat from California, and he is a member of the Armed Services and House Oversight Committees. Congressman, so good to see you. I wonder if I could get your reaction to the former President Poroshenko there and his resolve to, if the time is now, and if it comes to that, he is putting his life on the line to help save his country.
Frederica, it was incredibly moving, the resolve, his sense that he may give up his life to protect the freedom of his people. And when I was in Munich at the security conference with Speaker Pelosi, we met the mayor of Kiev. He's 6'5", he's a former boxer. He said he and his people will fight for Ukraine. The least we can do is provide them with the weapons so they can make this fight.
And now there is this promised new authorization of $350 million in new U.S. military assistance to Ukraine. How urgently can that be delivered in the form of arsenal for the Ukrainian people?
It can be delivered very soon, within days, but it's not enough. It's a good start, but they need more weapons. They need anti-aircraft missiles. They need anti-tank missiles. They need the weapons that that can resist the Russians. You know, you have a situation in Ukraine, Frederica, where I'm hearing that professors, that software engineers are learning how to pick up a rifle and fight. That population, the Ukrainian people, are willing to make this fight, and we need to stand with them, not just in principle, but give them the weapons so they have some chance.